Happy Monday, everybody. I hope you had a fabulous weekend. We are at Park Inn by Radisson, and we're about to get into the conversation of money, specifically spending money during the holidays, which can be a little tricky because, look, there's all these bills and events and functions, and you want to gift people, and you end up spending a lot of money, holidays and stuff. And if we're not careful, by mid-January, we're completely done. We have no idea how we're going to survive the rest of the month. And that's exactly why we have Waithaka Gatumia on the show today. He is the GM at Centonomy. He's going to break down all the ways that we need to save money and create spending plans that will make us enjoy the holidays and not feel guilty about it. But before we even dive into the conversation, now that we're talking about money, I have to tell you about My Dawa because they have some of the best deals in town. And if we're talking about saving money, you have to visit their site. It's www.mydawa.com, or you can check out the app. You can download it on Google Play and you can have it on your phone. They've got all sorts of products, from health products to baby products, skincare, wellness. There's a wealth of products. And given that they are currently hosting sales, now is the time to shop. This Christmas, My Dawa has got you sorted with a pack put together specifically for you. Feeling exhausted and in need of some time out? Well, get yourself or your loved one a pack to help you kick off your shoes and rejuvenate. Use the discount code S15 for 15% off your first order. Download the app or visit www.mydawa.com to get your time out pack. Live well with My Dawa. They've got free delivery if you're within Nairobi, and they charge a little bit extra if you're outside of Nairobi. So that's another plus. You also save money there. So hey, you're welcome. Check them out. For now, here's our MCM. Rawlings Akecho Odhiambo was a top male performer of KCPE exams, scoring 453 marks from Kakamega Hill School. Congratulations, Rawlings. We applaud you and celebrate you. Keep shining. Whew, I know it's not always the first conversation we want to have around December holiday season, but it's a conversation that's important to have nonetheless, wouldn't you say?
I hope so.
Money?
I hope so.
Yeah.
We're going to spend a lot. I think everywhere, everything is on sale. I think I have a different attitude towards everything being on sale, different things that are happening at the moment, because I think it is excellent. I think that if you can get things at a discount, at a great price, then that's excellent. But there are a few other issues we need to discuss, I'm sure, around that. So I'm happy as well, but also a bit cautious.
A bit cautious, and that's important because for some reason, we just always find ourselves frustrated January 5th and looking towards, just trying to count how many more days to payday,
yes.
31st, which isn't how we should be looking at it. In fact, before this started, I was just saying, Waithaka, I think you ought to have a class specifically for how to manage
your holiday time.
Yeah.
To manage especially family members, especially how you spend over this holiday period, because there's pressures from everywhere.
Right.
So as I was saying before, I've stolen that idea from you. Coming soon from Centonomy, a class on managing your holiday, something like that.
I probably will be number one at that door, just being like, come on, help me out. So Waithaka, where do people go wrong when it comes to managing their money for the December period and leading into the new year? Yep. Where do people go wrong?
Look, I know I sound like a broken record, but it is true. I mean, when you find the truth in life, you just stick with it. If it's true, it's true.
It's true.
I mean, there's all this news about fake news everywhere now, but there's some things that are just true.
Okay.
And it's really about planning. But I think sometimes when you think about planning, we think boredom, we think the drudgery of writing things down and preparing and doing all those things. That's not the exciting part. You want to get to the joyful part.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a poor attitude. When I say planning, plan for the stuff you love. Okay. I mean, go all out for the experience that you want to have. Yeah. A book I was reading recently, which I highly recommend for all entrepreneurs to read. And I want more Kenyan entrepreneurs to write books because I think it'll make a huge difference. Most of the books that we get are foreign, these big moguls from the US. But the book I was reading is called Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. And he was telling the experience of starting up the company Nike,
Yeah.
which all of us know about.
Yeah.
And it started off with an experience. So when he was a young person, he said, you know what, I need to see the world.
Okay.
And so after college, he said, I'm going to go on holiday and I'm going to see everything out there in the world. And he actually went on a trip round the world. And you can imagine this is, I think it's late 50s, I think early 60s, around that time when it took time. So he'd go and stop
Wow.
in Hawaii and spent a few months there. Then he stopped in Japan, which is where he was trying to get the shoes from. Imagine he even passed through Kenya at that point. So you can imagine the experience that he came home with. He had seen the world and he had seen opportunities. He had seen different cultures. And I think when we come at it like that and say, you know what if this holiday we went somewhere amazing that would refresh our soul, that would give us ideas, I think that's what we need to plan for. When we plan for just how we're going to spend, that's not the fun part. Begin thinking, what would feed your soul? What would make you excited? And then you'll start figuring out, okay, how much money do I need to go and see the Eiffel Tower in Paris? Wouldn't that be like exciting?
Wow. Yeah.
And then the planning now you begin to get serious about the planning. Then you say, I can't just joke around. Actually, it's real money now you're putting
Wow.
down. But the experience is what you're looking for.
Waithaka, I know you came here to talk about money, but what you're doing feels like a therapy session for me right now.
It was one for me.
Yeah, because I also feel like I've been searching for a moment to go to replenish, to feed the soul, like you're saying, and ignite that spark again. And if we look at our wants and our needs, our goals from that perspective, rather than, now I can only spend, I don't know, X amount because then I need to pay school fees, then it starts to look boring and just you want to throw it out the door. But start from there.
Start from that point. Be purposeful in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Even having fun. Because many times when we train in our classes, when you're talking about personal finance, everybody's like, oh man, it just means tightening the belt. It's the end of fun. And we're saying no, actually, it allows you to have serious fun. Like, I mean, an experience that you're going to remember for the rest of your life.
Right.
So, like, we're having a discussion with some of our students this past week, and this woman was saying, my husband, he really spoils the kids, because he's away. So when he comes home, he just really gives them a lot of money. I said, don't stop him. Say this. Put this down on paper and say, you want to give your children a great experience that you never had? Why don't we take them on a trip end of this year? And she was like, I'd never thought about that.
Yeah.
I thought it would always have to be the same thing over and over again. And I said, no, begin to plan with the changes in mind.
Right.
Have an experience like we're having right now. Shoot outside when it's supposed to be raining. These are things you'll never forget.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And give your kids that experience of a lifetime that they can't forget.
Right. Okay, so let's start from there, because I think most people are going to be open to the idea of travel, going to somewhere new, and that's usually what happens around this time, at least in this side of town. We're almost always planning for a trip somewhere. How early should you then start that? Whether you were planning for a trip, whether you're planning for a house, or something for your house, doesn't matter. How early should that planning start?
Again, go back to the dream. Is the size of the dream defines the size of the planning.
Ooh,
so
okay.
when you see like all these wonderful people from around the world coming to experience Kenya, we often think these people just have money from everywhere, that they're just flowing in cash and they just arrive in Kenya from Europe, from Asia, from the Americas. This is not true. Many of them have been planning for years to have an experience in Kenya. And so when they come, they have an experience where they're talking about when they come, they don't just go to Mombasa and stay at the beach. When they come to Kenya, they see Masai Mara. Then they drive they go to Lamu, then they go to the Savo, then they go to Mount Kenya, then they come to Nairobi and experience all this, so that over a 2-week period, they've seen Kenya and they leave here with something that's completely different.
Yeah.
It's not something that just happens. For a big trip like that, you would start planning 2 years in advance.
So in that case, if, say, for instance, you wanted something beautiful for yourself in December, whatever that is for you, you decide, should you then start planning 2 years now, and then next year you're planning for the 2 years from then, and then the other year
Yeah, I mean, that's it. All you're doing is matching your planning to the goal. Okay. So hey, look, I want to take a trip down to Naivasha. 3 months, even 2 months, or even at the end of the month, depending on what your income level is, that's enough.
Okay.
I want to go on a trip around Europe. That might take a different amount of planning.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking just jokes here, and these are not things at work. A lady in our office, a wonderful young lady, she runs one of our programs, she's called Wendy. Wendy last year took a trip to 9 countries in Europe. She's in her 20s. And she went, I mean, like when she was sending all the selfies, everyone in the office was just like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Because she had an experience, but it didn't happen just like that. It was a year and a
Right.
half worth of planning and saving with her girlfriends. But when she went, it was all out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's exactly what
and
we're
that's
talking
interesting because I think in this day and age, all we see are those Instagram highlights, and we just think, where do they get the money? And then we start to speculate. You must have this. You
Yeah.
must have a sponsor. You must be stealing money here. But there are some honest, working
Yes.
individuals who are hustling and working hard and saving and spending.
Not some.
A lot.
Majority
A
of the
lot,
people that
that's
you're
true.
seeing out there don't have a trust fund or, as you said, a sponsor or any of
Yeah.
these other things.
Yeah.
Majority of them just planned, saved, and went.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Yes.
So what are some of the traps we should look out for? And now speaking about, you were talking about sales.
Yeah.
Wadaka, I don't even know if I should tell you how sale, like the word sale attracts, it's so attractive to me.
It releases the hormones in your brain that
It's
says spend.
it's a terrible 4-letter word. But so there's other things that end up digging into our pockets. Family functions, presents for people, donations. So then how do you make sure that you don't set yourself up for, a difficult January based off of all those costs that you'll end up
Broken
incurring?
record again, plan.
Okay, plan.
So I give it, I like to think about it from a different perspective all the time. When you go home, let's say you go up country, you go shags, yeah? There's always that uncomfortable discussion that happens from either an uncle, a cousin, or somebody, they want cash. And so they come and say, so Nairobi kukuaje?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know how that conversation happens. It's it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So rather than waiting for that conversation to happen, that guy is going to come and ask, that auntie is going to come and ask. Imagine if you had prepared in advance, and in your pocket you have envelopes for each one of these people, and you stopped them in advance. Imagine if you went home and said, Uncle, I've been thinking about you this whole year, and I wanted to give you something. Can you imagine the difference in experience that would be, rather than having to go through that whole talk of nasikuku? Yes, you know that whole story.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the reverse.
So
can
that's
you
what I'm thinking, yeah.
Can you plan to be like, sorry, uncle, not this year?
Yes, you can.
On the reverse, it's still
Look, we usually give for good reason.
right.
I honestly believe many of us give for good reason.
Yeah.
Some of our relatives, some of our friends don't have the means, the experiences that we've had. And to give, that's a very African thing. So I'm trying not to push an agenda
Right.
which is saying never give.
Yeah.
There are those who take advantage.
That's
and
what I was getting
think
at,
it's
yeah.
recognized. You know them. And you've already been saying no. So don't beat yourself up. Maybe try and give them a different experience. Maybe pay for them to go to school or something like that, so that money goes towards something will build them up. Maybe, I don't know, make an investment in their business rather than just giving them cash. You know what I mean? But it's again being very purposeful in thought and saying, does this person need what we're talking about, or are they just taking advantage? And sometimes we've never even thought about it. If you think you'll find out those who are in need. I mean, when you talk about things like school fees, that's something, I mean, like if a relative, a friend of yours requires it, that's something you would want to give towards. But if it's just sikuku, you've not been able to work, you've not been working, you're not taking advantage of opportunities that you've been given chances, then maybe, as you're right, one of the good words that you need to learn is no.
Yeah.
And maybe that will help them now actually figure out, okay, I need to get serious. I can't just take a free ride every day. But it's still a plan. Yes.
It's interesting. In as much as it's something that you hear of, I don't know if it would have clicked. Also plan for that, for all those little places that your money ends up disappearing to. And maybe even for you, what you want to do is try and give like bonuses, or just send money to the people who've been with you, around you, the year, to just say thank you.
Your house help.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine what that would
Exactly.
be? And please be creative with such things. It doesn't always have to be cash. Go through your stuff. Think about What do their kids need? You know, it shows that you care for their families and for them as human beings. When you go through your things and say, you know, I'm not really using this handbag. I've not used it for so long, but it's in good quality. Imagine what this person would feel if you gave it.
Yeah.
And make it a big deal. You
Yeah.
know? That's kind of what I think about.
I like that. I like that. Okay, so we went out and asked some of you guys how you end up spending your money during the holidays. So take a look at what you had to say.
I plan to maybe go for a vacay. Go for family meetings. Okay, we can at least have some fun times with friends. Yeah.
This year, the way the economy is in the country, this year we should not celebrate. We should work harder so that we celebrate next year and the other years.
I plan to go out and treat my family this festive season. Yeah, especially over Christmas, we go out as a family. We've been doing that, especially now that our marriage anniversary comes also in December. So we normally have that, a family trip.
I probably plan to spend the little money I'll have on clothes, and maybe Christmas gifts.
All right, as you can see, 'tis a season to spend money, but it's also a season to save money. As difficult as that might be to grasp, there can be some savings that take place during this season, and that's exactly what we'll get into after this break. Welcome back, everybody. We're trying to understand how we make sure our money lasts through the holidays so that we're not going about it feeling stressed and anxious. And we've got Waithaka Gatumia, who's a GM in charge of programs and communication at Centonomy. So, Waithaka.
Yes.
As I was doing research on this topic, I saw a word that I thought that couldn't possibly be associated with holiday, and that was saving. And I thought, I couldn't believe it that someone could be talking about saving at a time where I'm thinking all you should be doing is spending, and just what we should be figuring out is how to spend wisely. So what are the tips when it comes to saving during this season?
Broken record again, planning, but
Yeah.
let me take it from a different perspective. I think you can save a significant amount of money if you have a good plan. And this is why I thank God for my beautiful wife, Sheila, because she has taught me so much.
Yeah.
She is a planner, much more than I am.
Okay.
And so when this new concept, well, it's not new, but it hit Kenya seriously over the last maybe 2 or 3 years, which is this idea of Black Friday,
Yes.
which ends up being a whole month. She waits. I mean, she will stop shopping in the supermarket and she'll
Yeah.
say, we will get it online or at some point when there's a Black Friday sale. So she has already made a plan and said, I will not spend an extra shilling in the supermarket for a little while and
Yeah.
we'll wait.
Yeah.
And once the sale hits, then you're ready. But you see, there's a difference between going into the supermarket, going in online or even to the supermarket or the shopping mall when there's a sale on just to see what's going on versus going when you have a need. So for instance, if you needed as you said, during the holidays, you also think about, can we get something for ourselves, a new TV for the
Yeah,
house,
right.
a new sofa set and all. You find amazing deals now during the holiday period. And it usually comes slightly beforehand because they know, hey, Kenyans, number one, and it's not just Kenyans, people around the world, they'll be last minute shoppers. And so the sale comes early to get you thinking about spending. But if you've thought about it already, then you'll take advantage.
Okay.
But then those who don't take advantage, the sale will quickly disappear. And in the month of December, everything is marked up once again for the late buyers. So if you have the ability to plan, I thank God that my wife has it, I don't, because she's able to say, look, Black Friday is coming up. There are a couple of things that we needed. Can we wait a month or two and we'll get there? And then you can be able to purchase. And even household goods. I was like, what? Unga going for 20, you know what I mean, 100 bob versus what you're getting in the supermarket. That's significant. And so you can stock up, on like a lot of stuff during this period of time because you know the holiday is coming. So that's one way.
Oh, and just to pause for a second there, that's actually such a good tip, because I think a lot of us go into November, you know, Black Friday month and you know, specifically Black Friday, thinking I'll just wait and see what's there and then I'll purchase it.
yes.
And then all those things that we could have saved a little bit of money on, whether it was a camera, whether it's a couch, whether it's, you decide what it is for you. It could even be household goods.
I'm saying unga.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
going to take unga home,
Right.
up country. Right now, it's on serious sale online.
So-
Purchase like a whole gunia and then go home. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing.
Now, for the savings bit, because that's where I don't know if the saving has taken place because you didn't spend that money or because you then need to, that money that you've saved, place it out somewhere else. So can you break down what that
Okay.
needs to look like?
So in Centonomy, we are all about purposeful living.
Okay.
And we're trying to say, let that saving not just be a one-off. Let it not just be, you know, it should be a lifestyle.
Yeah.
We're putting money aside, but never just putting money aside. That's boring.
Yeah.
That's just, there's no life in that. It's putting money aside with a reason. So what are you saving for? What are you hoping to do with this cash? So if there's an area in which you're saving for, maybe it's for emergencies. That's a
Right.
very specific thing
Yeah.
because it comes up. Maybe it's for education. Maybe it's for different things like that.
Yeah.
If you're planning for such things, then actually make a plan so that every month you know where the money is going and there's a reason for
Yeah.
it. If there's no reason, saving is boring. You'll never do it. It's
Right.
just, there's no point to it. But when you have a reason and you have a purpose behind it, then it becomes real. So if you're doing it as a lifestyle, then even during the holiday period, it's not just meaning that you just spend everything. You see, that's the thing. We have an attitude that, man, January will take care of itself, so let me just enjoy. Let me just enjoy. And you're not really enjoying. You know, the truth is you're not really enjoying. Because even when you go, I've seen people on holiday. And you'll be somewhere, and the kids will ask, can we go on this ride? Or then you start thinking, that's more than what I had planned for. And there's, at the back of your mind, there's a little bit of guilt that's saying, how will I survive next month? Is that fun?
It's not. You're living with that anxiety.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So plan to spend even in that period of time. But what we're talking about is specifically, many times you will get an extra income over the holiday period.
Bonus.
Some people do get bonuses. Another way that it seems like extra income, but it's not really, is that your salary tends to arrive a little bit earlier in the month.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Okay.
It seems like there's more
Yeah.
cash. So without a plan, it's very easy to be like, now I'm balling. Let's go do the thing that we wanted to do. Maybe it's time to say, what could that bonus do? If you assign something to it that's positive, that will make a difference for you, then you can do something with it, which is to put aside some of that cash for the future. Yeah.
So writing on that, you talked of people going on holiday and feeling anxious. What are some actual tips to creating that spending plan that will allow you to have a guilt-free holiday or guilt-free spending moment?
Many of us have had experience already of going, so we have an idea of what a budget for a holiday looks like.
Okay.
So think deeply about it and dream, like go all out.
Yeah.
Even if it's a normal holiday that you usually do, like saying going up country, going shags, there's other stuff you can do around there. Think about what would be a great experience around your home area for the family and the kids. Begin to think, how can we make it an experience? If you do so, then you put money down for it and then put some extra cash, discretionary cash as well, so that there's no sense that I'm digging into other monies that are there.
Yeah.
Anytime that you go on holiday, we do this instinctively, like for instance, when we're leaving the country or going somewhere unfamiliar, we always have some contingency cash around us. But we don't do that necessarily when we are, in comfortable areas, like even home. Some of us are going to spend our holiday here in Nairobi, which
That's
is okay.
true. That's
or wherever
true.
you are,
Yeah.
where you're in your hometown.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't instinctively think, even if we're staying home, Christmas Day, you're probably going to want to go out somewhere, or you want to do something different. So have some discretionary cash separate and budget for it and say, look, if we were to go out for dinner, if we were to go for a movie or do something like that, it would cost us this amount of money, and put that aside and say, should that come up, we're ready for it.
Right.
Just the same way that you do, even when you're traveling abroad, a huge part of traveling abroad is putting aside cash for any eventuality. But we do that because you feel you're out of your comfort zone, you're in a different environment and you want to be safe. Do the same here. We do
Even
it
here,
instinctively.
right.
Do it in that way as
Right.
well, I think.
Okay, so I've heard of some interesting travel tips and saving tips. The first, and I want you to speak on them, but the first is the best time to purchase a ticket is 3 months in advance, and specifically on a Tuesday at around 3 p.m. Now, this is based off of the algorithms. I don't know how true it is, but that's what I've heard.
I don't know about all
The
those
3
single
p.m.s.
details
Yeah.
in there, but I do know, having talked to a travel agent, that traveling during the week is generally cheaper than it is on the weekend.
Okay.
Just simply because
Yeah.
not many people are traveling at that time.
Okay.
So you tend to make a bit of a saving there as
Yeah.
well. But talk to your travel agent. You see, that's somebody, whoever was telling you this already did some research.
I
and so
read
I
an
would say,
article, actually.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it was an article, yeah. So then do so. I mean, actually make that plan.
Right.
And you find that maybe traveling on a weekday, maybe a Tuesday, and then coming back on a Thursday, maybe in another week,
Yeah.
may save you significant amount
Right.
of money. That's been my experience. I don't know about the timing, but if someone is good like that, then they can.
I
they
don't
can
know
do
about
so.
the timing. I've
That's
never
a
really
br-
done
that's
it,
a
but
brilli- what that means is somebody has thought about it.
and it's well in advance.
I would say not even 3 months, as early as possible. We took a trip with my wife a while back, and we planned, I think it was over 6 months in advance. You know what I mean? It was, why we did that is because now it meant, look, if we're going, we've booked the ticket, we've put some cash down, then it means every month we were going to be putting some money aside until the day comes. And so it gave us a target, and we were like, man, the day is coming. The day is coming. Then you don't even feel the pain of putting the cash aside. What all you're seeing is it was going to be my first experience of snow, like going across the ocean. So I was like, I can't wait, I can't wait, I can't wait. And so the money stops being the issue. In fact, now you're saying, how can we find more cash?
Right,
Yeah, so-
right. Another thing I heard is actually the best time to go on holiday isn't around this time. If you want to travel, you either want to do it before or after. Thoughts on that?
100% true. Because everyone is traveling at this time. Everyone is free at this time. So if you can free up time at a different point in the year, which is not, you've heard of high season, low season, even as far as local holidays are concerned. And let me talk to Kenyans, please. This country of ours has some amazing, amazing experiences. Stop looking outside. Start interior. And you might find some amazing deals. It's cheaper to travel within. You know the language. Everything is great. So if you went probably somewhere in March versus,
Right.
over the holiday period, you'll get some great deals because at that point in time, all the hotels are not full.
Yeah.
All the drivers, who will take
Right.
you on the safaris are not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That kind
Yeah,
of thing.
I hear you. But I've also noticed that sometimes around this season, even hotels in Kenya know that it's peak season. So everything is a little bit
Yes, they know.
higher. So just do your research even in that light.
It's business
right?
planning. And in
Yeah.
fact, to all the business owners, yes, this is the time to rake it in. And they know it. And it's not an evil thing, it's just a fact of business. You have to be able to make as much money as you can when you can. Because there's seasons they know the hotels are empty, the foreign travelers are not coming at that period of time. In the West, when it's summer, that they're enjoying their summertime. When it's winter, they want to be here. So make those choices.
Right, right. So we went and asked once again, you guys, how you save money during the holidays or if you save money. And this is what you had to say. Take a look.
I don't save money for holidays, but right now, when it's almost festive season, I'll be tempted to save because I don't want to be broke during the festive season.
I have been saving the whole year, little by little every month, what I'll use for the festive season.
Be very sincere. I don't think there is money for holiday because of January is waiting. We need school fees, rent, travel, and such. So really, I'll take this Christmas as any other day.
Do more business. That's how I'm gonna save for the Christmas. I do more business, get the money, save. Yeah, that's basically it for the Christmas.
There you go. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about 2019, how to make sure we start a year on a clean slate. So we'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody. We're at Park Inn by Radisson, and I've got Waithaka, GM at Syntonomy. And I want us to now dive into January. And going back to something that you had said earlier, usually people will get paid a little bit earlier. And that makes you feel like you've got all the money in the world. So
It's a good feeling,
it's
isn't
such a
it?
good
I mean, when
feeling.
you spend or you go to the ATM and you get that piece of paper out, there's a good feeling seeing the zeros there. You're just like, yeah. But
Come
yeah,
on.
sorry.
But yeah, it
I was
is a good
reminiscing,
feeling.
yes.
No, and it's almost like a high. And how should you go about making sure that you don't fall into the same traps of, mid-January and you're just like, I can't make it through the month? What are some actual tips that we can take on?
Pay your bills in advance.
Okay.
Yeah.
The
You will make great friends with the school bursar if you pay your January fees in December. They will be happy with you. In fact, you will get credit. I'm sure in the middle of the year, if you find some time, the bursar will say, it's okay, don't worry, pay next month. Because at that time, I know there's a huge struggle along the way. So pay in advance. You know those costs are coming up. So pay your rent, pay school fees. You know those big ticket items as early as possible. And then it'll also give you a real picture of where you're at as far as your money is concerned at that point. It gives you some parameters within which to say, okay, this is, if we have not planned so far, because I know we're talking, it's November, December is coming up.
Yeah.
So maybe you've not had the time to save up and plan. So what it'll do, it'll give you a space within which you can say, okay, I have this amount of money left. What can we do which will give my family, myself, an experience that we'll never forget? And sometimes, as I said, don't look for. I know we've been talking big and saying dream, Paris and the rest, see the world and all that. But sometimes it's just saying, what is an experience you can have in Nairobi? What would be great that we've never done? Just last week, we went out on a date with my wife, and I was trying to think, okay, we've gone to restaurants, we've gone to, like different places around Nairobi. What would be something different? And I just thought, we've never been to the top of KICC.
Oh.
I had never been. It's kind of, you've been to KICC, you've gone to the different places, but had never actually been, rooftop. And having traveled the world a little bit, we've gone to other places. Then you go to a major city like New York, and then you're looking Rockefeller Center, and you want to go to, you know what I mean? Different places like that to overlook the city. And we'd never done the same thing here in Nairobi. And it was it was a serious experience.
Yeah.
Like to go and see Nairobi, and it's a 360-degree view of the whole city. How many of us have actually gone there? And it's cheap.
Yeah.
You know what I
really
mean?
cheap.
For
Yeah.
Kenyans.
Yeah.
Foreigners, they pay a little bit more. But for Kenyans, like
But even for foreigners,
I think it's 200
not,
bob.
Yeah, even for foreigners,
200
it's not
bob
that
for
high.
an experience. And there's a nice restaurant there as well that you can be able to
Yeah.
experience. Small
Find-
things
yeah.
like that make a huge difference.
Right, I agree.
So always give yourself the parameters. Now you said you spend the money that you need to spend, it's coming up for sure. And then say, within this budget, what will give us a great experience?
Right, yeah. Okay, so obviously as we're talking about the holidays, it also means that the new year is just around the corner. And I'm sure that there's some trends or new things that are happening when it comes to savings that can help us manage our money a little bit better. So how is it that we can come into the new year with this knowledge? Any tips that you might have for us in that regard?
Yeah, many of us, and when I say us, I'm including myself, we live our lives on autopilot. We've not pushed ourselves. When we've been studying successful people. That's what we do at Centonomy, so that we're trying to learn what are the principles that have given them success that'll give us success and hopefully can teach. When they live their lives on autopilot, when we live our lives on autopilot, things just happen to us. We found that successful people don't live on autopilot. They go for what they want. It's an active lifestyle that they have. And when I say active, I'm not talking about that they have to go see some guru somewhere or go and, you know what I mean? I'm just saying that they say, this year we want to do this. Right. This year I'd like to experience this. This year I want to grow my career in this direction. This year I want to meet this type of person.
Yeah.
It's an active way of thinking. Okay. So, and it's putting it into practice that will make the difference. Many times we dream, but everything remains as a dream. And when it comes to financial planning, we always say, have the dream, but then you have to transfer your dream into a goal. Okay. And a goal is different from a dream.
Yeah.
A goal has a price, a cost
Yeah.
to it, and a timeline, which means I know by when and how much will it cost me. And cost is not just money, it's time, energy, and all
Okay.
those, and relationships and network.
Can you give an example of a dream and how you can turn it into a goal?
Very good. I want to see the world. Great, that's a wonderful dream. And I think everyone thinks about it. Here's a goal. I will go to Naivasha.
Yeah.
Because I've never been. Or my experience, go to KICC, and it'll cost me 200 bob. Oh, it's me and my wife, and actually my daughter just came along for the ride as well. It's supposed to be a date, but she decided to come along. But anyway, so me and my wife, and she's too young, so it was 400 shillings to go there plus lunch. So that's now a goal. Next Monday, KICC, 400 shillings plus lunch, which was another 2,000 bob or so. That's now a goal. Then you take action and you say, find out how much does it cost. Is it open on a Mondays? You know what I mean? You're
Okay.
able to take action based on a goal, not on a dream.
Right. So let me see if I get it. I want to be a homeowner. That's a dream.
Yes.
Therefore, this year, I will work as hard as I possibly can and set aside, I don't know, 500,000 shillings to bring me closer to that dream. Is that it?
Almost.
Oh, no.
You
What
don't
do
know the cost yet. Remember, you have to have a
Okay,
timeline and a
right.
cost. So
So I
what's
need the cost of the final house,
Yeah.
not how much I want to save.
exactly? What's the cost
Okay,
of the
so
house?
I want to be a homeowner. That's the dream.
Good.
My goal is to buy a house worth, say, 2 million shillings. And therefore, this year,
Now, when do you want to buy that house?
What? Okay.
I'm
Jeez.
giving you a hard
okay,
time,
Okay,
right?
yeah, no,
Because
but
you
it's
see-
good. No, this is what I
Yeah,
want,
yes,
so that we
yes,
all
yes.
are
That's it,
understanding.
yeah,
Okay, so let's do it again. I want to be a homeowner. Goal is to buy a house worth
2 million, you had
worth
said?
2 million shillings in 2020.
Great. How many years do you have now?
I now have 2 years. Therefore,
So by the end of 2020, you want to have that home.
2020.
I'm
So-
giving
so
you
is
as
that the
long
goal?
I'm giving you as long as time as possible.
So that's
Yeah,
the goal. So
that's
I
the
don't
goal.
need. So
the cost, you have
yeah.
2 million, and then a timeline. So you have 2
So-
years.
Oh, right. And then
Yes.
you work from there, and then see. So
Yeah.
this year it means I need to put 1 million shillings aside.
So you can break it down like that.
Yeah.
And you can begin to see, how do I get to 2 million in 2 years? It may not be 1 million by the end of this year, but it may be the infrastructure to be able to build 1 million shillings. For instance, like if you own a business, when will that business begin to bring in the cash?
Okay.
Maybe you'll do the investments in this year, and then in the second year, you're hoping for revenues in that business worth 2 million. You get what I'm trying to
Right.
say?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you break it down and say, okay, maybe it's 2 million in 2 years and I'm on a salary. So I'll say, how much do I need to save every month so that by the end of that 2-year period, it gets to 2 million. It's a simple division, and you say, how do I get to that?
And I don't think a lot of people do that. And I think even as if we went into the holidays, understanding what really is our dream. Is it to, I don't know, spend tens of thousands of shillings on alcohol and a fun time and food? Or is it to buy that home for 10 million shillings in 5 years' time, and therefore,
Yeah.
that
and,
you've
and
got-
so you'll balance it out.
Yeah.
So like there's a gentleman in our class, and right now he's doing the class in Centonomy, and he came to me afterwards because we had met before, and he was like, I don't know about this financial planning business, but I'll try it. Let me come and I'll try. So he came in, and he came back to me and he said, well, Laka, what? This is, he had never seen it. He came back to me, and after 1 week of tracking his expenses, he found that he was essentially spending about 80,000 shillings in the pub per month. And he's not an alcoholic.
Wait a second. I'm trying to do the math. 80 times 12 is almost. Is it almost 1 million shillings, or am I?
If you think about it, this is one line item, the pub. So if he looked at the rest of his expenses, he was spending a lot more than that. But you see, when you're taking home an income of 600,000 shillings, you see, we don't get it. We think that simply by having a higher income that our planning will change in some way. It does not. He was spending 80,000 shillings when he did the calculation. He's like, I didn't know this. But it's because you'll go there, you'll have a drink, you'll share a drink with other people around, you'll have a meal in the evening. And because I don't have many other responsibilities, he had never seen it. And he was like, this does not make sense. Then I asked him, how much are you investing per month? And even 10K was hard to come by.
I'm sure.
You get what I'm talking about?
No, and I'm sure we're all guilty. We all have that.
Because we're not purposeful with the things that we're doing. Now we're saying, look, what would make it more purposeful to you? And it was not that he's now not going to be going to the club. No, it's just he's aware when he's in the club. This is what will make sense for my life. And sometimes we don't do that. We advocate and we always say at Centonomy, it's not about coming to this place and never enjoying life. No, it's about planning for that enjoyment so that it makes sense for you.
Okay, so it's not stop having a good time.
No.
It's understand how much of a good time you're actually having.
Yes.
Versus what you're sacrificing.
Another lady came up and said, look, Waithaka, my hair is important to me. I will not compromise on my hair. And I said, cool, no issue. Then how will you afford it every month? And she said, you know what? I'll figure it out. And she did. She went back to her mindset and she just thought, how do I sustain this lifestyle that I want? And she found out from her networks and the things that she was doing, she started a small business because she's a stylish woman. She started a small business of importing, handbags and things like that you can't find locally and selling them. And because of the network that she had, she's selling handbags at 25,000, 30,000 per bag.
Wow.
And that is able now to take care of her hair that she wants to do. And I said, that's it. That's a purposeful person.
Right.
Maybe to somebody else, a car doesn't matter. It gets me from point A to B. I know there are young guys who are just saying, my first Subaru, and this matters to me. So they make sacrifices elsewhere so that they can drive in that car that they want. That's financial planning. It's not about killing yourself. In fact, it's about living abundantly. That's what it's about.
Living abundantly. Okay, so you've given some good tips. You said the first is have a goal. And with that goal, first have a dream. And with that dream, have a goal.
Yes.
And the second is
Then
track
take
your
action.
spend.
We're coming back to it and just saying, if you have all these things that you want to achieve, then you have to figure out, how am I going to pay for this house worth 2 million shillings in 2 years?
Right.
So will it come out of my current expenditure? Part of it will. So it means you have to be able to put some aside.
Okay.
Then secondly, you'll be like, okay, 2 million is a lot of money in 2 years. It may take more than what I'm used to.
Right.
So you begin to think, what could I do? I am sure everyone comes to you and says, can you MC an event? Can you come and, stand in? And if you said, I'm too busy doing other things, you would not get to your dream. Right. But now that you're saying that you want to do such things, you probably take 4 gigs in a month for the next 2 years so that you're able to achieve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So I think that generally helps put it into perspective. I think understanding what your goal is and what 2019 looks like can also help you as you go into holidays not to be like, come on, don't worry, I've got all these bills. So, Waithaka, with that said, do you have any last tips when it comes to holiday spending?
I think so. I think look for great deals because they're always out there. My wife is I told you she's an amazing planner. And so she always says, oh, that's what it is? Okay, no problem. I'll call someone. Have a guy for all the things that you need. Because that guy, like in our case, like for travel, is our cousin. And he always has his, he knows what's going on around the world. And so he'll always be able to say, oh, you want to go and experience this? Maybe there's a different way. Maybe you go at a different time. Have a guy for the different things that you like. Get the inside information and you might find better deals than what you thought. Don't go in a hurry into these things. Don't rush into them. But I also advocate for this. Access to your cash becomes a very important thing. So don't have access to the cash you don't want to spend. I don't know how that makes it, whether that makes sense to you.
So
like if you have a separate account,
okay.
leave the ATM card for that account when you travel, and have the one for the holiday. Like, and now accounts don't cost anything, so you're limited to the amounts that you have. Anytime you have your card or your M-Pesa, you're going to spend what's there. So if you separate yourself from the cash you don't want to spend, that might be useful.
That's a good tip.
Along the way,
that way you don't start feeling like, don't worry, we'll have more drinks. Go out for shopping again. We'll even extend our stay. Jeez, the things we do. The things we do in December. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you, Waithaka. I think you've really helped give us some solid tips to run us through Christmas, but also start 2019 on the right note. And hopefully, if we have been paying attention, then this time next year,
Yeah.
it won't be stressful.
It won't be. So I mean, even like beginning of next year, we have our open day, and the theme, we're doing some research on it right now. The open day beginning of next year, the theme is how to attract wealth. And one of the things that we've been finding out about those who are wealthy, wealth is attracted to order. Where there's disorder, you don't find wealth. That's one of the things. And the other thing is knowledge. Where there's ignorance, you don't find wealth.
Right.
Where there's a wealth of
A wealth of
yeah,
knowledge.
exactly. Then
Yeah.
you find
Yeah.
wealth is attracted to such space. So that's kind of the research that we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So that we start the year with a bang. I mean, like all these things, it's about living purposefully. That's what we try and do.
When is the open day?
23rd of January.
Okay.
It'll be at All Saints Cathedral. It's free, so come.
There you
come
go.
and see. Come and you'll learn a few things.
And start your year on the right foot. No excuses. So that we're not trapped. Let me tell you, come rain or shine,
Yes.
I'm not going to have one of those difficult Januaries. It just keeps happening all the time, and you wonder how. But now, no excuses, guys. Let's do this, okay? Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you have great holidays. I know we're not there yet, but we're planning for it. So hope your planning is going well. And thank you to Park Inn by Radisson. It was an interesting drizzling kind of session. It's almost like maybe this is symbolic of all the wealth that will rain on all of us.
blessings, yes.
The blessings that are to come this holiday season. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great rest of the week. Bye, everybody.